Hi, my name is Lucas, and today we're going to improve our splits and our flexibility. We have the left leg splits, we have the right leg splits, and we have our middle splits. First, our right and left leg splits. We're going to go through a couple key exercises that will help improve and master your splits. The first one is on one knee. The gymnast is going to kneel down, back leg bent to 90 degrees, front leg pushed forwards, and the biggest thing that we're looking for is the knee never passes the foot. So we're going to slide the foot out farther, farther, farther. Perfect. Then both hands on the knee, and he's going to push his chest backwards. Push further, and this is to stretch the hip flexor in the back leg. We'll hold this for about 20 seconds. Repeat this on your second leg. Same thing, we're looking for the knee not to pass the toes and to feel a stretch through your hip flexor. Hold for 20 seconds. For our second stretch for right and left leg splits, we're going to be focusing on the back of our hamstrings and back of our legs. The first stretch, in that exact same position, we're going to straighten our front knee, and then the gymnast is going to keep their chest as flat as possible and lean forwards, reaching both hands. This is really important to help keep the hips square. The gymnast should feel a stretch down the back of their knee. Then, from here, the gymnast is going to sit their bum back towards their heel, and again, chest stays open and reach forwards. This time, they'll feel a little bit higher, more towards the butt. Hold each position for about 10 seconds. Again, repeat both exercises on your opposite leg. 10 seconds per position. For our third static stretch, what we're going to have the gymnast do is sitting on their bum, straddle their legs to about 90 degrees, and then both knees bend to 90 degrees to have two 90-degree angles, like a square. From here, the gymnast is going to turn their belly button towards their back foot, opening up their chest and feeling a stretch down the back of their right leg. Hold this for 10 seconds. For our second stretch in the same position, the gymnast is then going to turn towards their front leg, belly button lines up, chest stays open, and lean as far forwards as possible. Arms can reach straight out. And hold 10 seconds. From that straddle position, the same thing on the second side. We're going to turn to our opposite direction. Both knees bent to 90 degrees, so we have two squares, and then belly button point back. Hold 10 seconds, and for our second position, turn forwards, chest stays open, and reach as far forwards as possible. Again, hold 10 seconds. Moving on to some active stretches. Active stretches are important because then we can use our own body to pull our weight, helping improve our range of motion. If we can grab anything around our house like a belt, I have a karate belt here, but a normal belt will work fine. The gymnast is going to grab each handle and hook their foot around the end. One leg is going to come up completely to vertical, and what we're going to do is pull slightly in pulses, completing 30 pulses per side. If they don't feel a stretch quite at the beginning, what you can do is you can bend your knee, pull further, and then try to straighten your knee as it's gone farther. Try to keep both butt cheeks on the ground and this bottom leg on the ground as best as possible. Then repeat on your second leg. Second leg comes up, both knees stay straight, and both butt cheeks try to stay on the ground. Repeat 30 times. For the second active stretch we're going to do, the gymnast is going to, again, wrap it around the foot, opposite hand, opposite foot, and pull over to the side like a Y scale. Try to get the belt behind their head, and again, 30 pulses. Ever so slightly, keep the leg straight on the ground, and we're aiming to feel a stretch down the back of the hamstring on the left leg. Again, repeat with the second leg. Both knees stay straight, try to keep your leg on the ground, and pulsing 30 times behind the head. Sometimes the belt can feel a little bit awkward, so if that's the case, you feel free to grab a bungee, something that's a little bit more elastic. For our third active stretch, the gymnast is going to have the same hand, same foot wrapped around, leg is going to come up, and then 10 times we're going to pull the leg directly over and up across our body and then back. When this stretch is done properly with our bum cheek trying to touch the ground, the gymnast is going to feel a really big stretch through the hip and through the hamstrings on the back of the leg. 10 times, and then we can switch legs. So same thing on the other leg, same hand, same foot. Try to make sure you're pulling up towards your ear and down to the ground at the same time. Leg stays straight, bum stays as close as you can to the ground, and repeat 10 times. One of our last stretches before we do our splits is to stretch out our quad muscles. One of the best ways we can do that is to find a flat surface. A wall works best, but a box will do. The gymnast is going to back up against the wall, have one knee pointing up. Knee comes all the way into the box, and then from here slowly slide into our splits. At a certain point, the gymnast is going to feel a real big stretch in their quads. Once we feel that stretch, don't push any further, stop, and we're going to hold for 20 seconds. Then same thing on our other leg. Knee comes back all the way back against the wall, foot pointing up, and slide until we feel a stretch in our quad. Stop, and hold for 20 seconds. Remember, this shouldn't be painful, just a good stretch. Once we've done all the lead up for our splits exercises, the next thing we're going to do is try our splits. It's important that we stay square and stay straight when we're sliding into our splits. A line works best. If we get the gymnast to go into a line, foot and knee and foot all stay on the line at the same time. Gymnasts can put one hand on each side for balance and then slowly slide their foot forwards, trying to stay on the line and keeping the belly button point forwards. Same thing on the other leg. One hand on each side for balance, slowly slide forwards and stay on the line. Awesome. Moving on to our middle splits. One of the first stretches that we're going to do for our middle splits is a static stretch. The gymnast is going to have their legs apart, wider than shoulder width, and then squat down, bending one knee to one side. Our goal is to keep our heel flat on the ground and try to turn our knee and toe so they're pointing up towards the ceiling. This way we can engage underneath the hamstrings and feel a stretch throughout the hips. Hold this for 10 seconds, then switch sides. So he's going to switch up all the way back to straddle, and then down onto the other side. Same thing, rotate our knee and toes so they're pointing up to the ceiling. Try to keep our heels flat on the ground. Hold for 10 seconds. Our next stretch for middle splits is frog stretch. Frog stretch is the classic one. We're going to go down onto our knees and elbows, and then the knees are going to separate, going into a middle split position. The only difference is our knees are going to stay at a 90-degree bend from the gymnast. So from the hips to the knees stays 100% 90 degrees. Once the gymnast feels pretty comfortable in this frog stretch, the next step to make it a little bit more difficult is to walk your elbows backwards and push your bum down and back towards the heels. This will amplify the stretch in the hips and the hamstrings. Again, hold about 20 seconds. From our frog stretch, the next step towards our middle splits is we're going to straighten one knee, keeping one knee in frog and one knee towards middle splits. Our goal here is to try to rotate as best we can, our toes off the ground. It's a lot harder in our frog stretch because our opposite foot is helping us stop that resistance. Hold for 20 seconds, then bend this knee and straighten our opposite knee. Same thing, pushing against gravity, we're going to try to rotate our knee up to the ceiling. This helps stretch the rotator cuff in the hip. For our next exercise, the gymnast is going to need 2 ankle weights. Place those ankle weights on the ankles, and then our other ankle, and then find a wall. One of our final exercises before moving on to the middle splits, a nice relaxing one. The gymnast is going to find this wall, lay on their back, and scoot their bum as close as possible, touching the wall. Legs will go straight up, and we're going to slowly spread our legs to the side until we start to feel a stretch. For this one, it's important that we don't stay here for too long, or else we're going to feel a little bit too much of a stretch in our knees. So the gymnast is going to hold for 10 seconds, then pull back up to the vertical. And then again, lower. Hold 10 seconds, this time a little bit further, and then close our legs back. We're going to repeat this 5 times, each time holding for 10 seconds. Moving on to our middle splits, the final end product. The gymnast is going to stand with feet shoulder width apart on a line. Hands can reach down to the ground, and then slide our feet slowly out to the side until we're about a foot off the ground. At this point, if there's still not a stretch, we're going to lower down to our elbows and then continue the slide process down. Again, legs stay straight along the line and hold for 20 seconds. It's important to remember on the journey to getting our splits that the exercises that lead up to it are as or more important than the splits themselves. Make sure you master these ones and spend more time before moving on to the splits. It's important that if you're going to master your splits, to make sure this is a consistent routine. It doesn't mean that you need to spend hours and hours a day, but even just 20 minutes to half an hour every single day goes a long way, and you'll have your splits in no time.